Welcome back to the second episode of the Planet Derp podcast. I got my good buddy Olin here with me. How's it going?
Oh, am I supposed to talk here? Sorry.
Yeah.
It's going. I'm off work tomorrow. I don't have anything planned, so I'm stoked about that.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm off work tonight, and I can't tell you how excited I am just to get a normal night's sleep.
That's gonna have to be me tomorrow night because I've got too much to do tonight.
So, have you how many streams have you gotten to do since you've been set up?
Since the move, I've gotten back to it more than 5, less than 10, I think.
Dude,
it's been a struggle to press that start streaming button. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get it, man. Honestly, there's so many nights where I'm sitting there right before I go live where I'm like, do I really want to? You know what I mean?
Yeah. The toughest part is just finding the social battery for it right now is difficult.
Oh yeah.
And it's hard when it's something that you're so passionate about and love doing, but you can't bring yourself to do it.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean, because you're like, this is where I know that this is like an area that's like home for me in a way, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it's so hard to have the energy to interact with people.
Mm-hmm. I will say that the handful of times that I've gotten back to it, it's been really, really nice. It's felt good. I felt like it went well, and that I'm not someone that streams for viewers, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't care how many people come around. My biggest thing is that if I have 13 people but nobody is chatting, I'm hopeful that those 13 people are getting something out of being there.
Yeah. Because
I've always wanted that place to be a space where people can feel like they can just come and relax and kind of be at home. And that's, I mean, obviously that's the whole mentality and the motif of it being called Dad's House, because that's what it's been for the last 6 years almost. Like, it's the mentality of having it be somewhere that you can come and kick your feet up and not have to worry about what else is going on. You know what I mean? And I kind of need to start eating my own words, in a sense of speaking, because like that's what it's supposed to be, but it hasn't been that for me. And I think I need to take the piss out of it for myself and just fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I get what you mean. Sometimes you have to give yourself that little bit of a push to get over that edge.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely one of those things that it's kind of like, you know, you stop doing something for so long and you get back to it, and it's kind of like, you know, the whole metaphor of, you know, riding a bike again after so long.
Yep.
You know, they say, you know, getting back on the old horse.
Yeah, that was me exactly. Whenever I had pretty much almost a whole year off from streaming and then coming back to it, it was like, I felt like I was starting all over again.
Mm-hmm. And like, I've been through phases of that as well, and it's difficult sometimes because I'm not gonna get into the personal reasons for why it's happening,
right?
But life happens.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes it happens very unforgivingly.
And I think that's something that everybody can grab a hold of.
It's one of those things where you try so fucking hard to just do right.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like it's never enough. And sometimes it's about just turning around and saying enough is enough. I'm going to do it. And if it's not enough, well, it's enough for me.
Well, something that you have been teasing recently that I think may have sparked a little something is getting back into those speed runs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Oh. Dude, you and I had been in, like, the height of the first couple of years of our friendship when I'd started doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And you would come and tune into the streams and see how fucking hard focused I was.
Oh yeah, dude.
On cutting that PB down and learning the new strats and just focusing up on that shit. And for anybody that's listening to this, I used to speedrun a game called Amnesia: The Dark Descent. And I worked my ass off to get to a point where I submitted it for a local speedrun event in Minnesota where I live. That was for charity. And I got to run it on a live stream in front of people. And
that's so cool.
It was so fucking nerve-wracking, but it was so cool. And looking back on it, mind you, this was right before COVID happened. So literally, I think it was the week before the world shut down.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do this. And I've gone back to the game maybe twice just for fun. But the other night I downloaded the game and like nostalgia hit. And I was like, what if I start speedrunning this again? Just for fun. Like, I'm not going to try to go do PB and, you know, grind all this out again. But what if I go back and relearn this and start running it again? Just for fun, just to have a passion for something right now, because I feel like I've been losing my passions for things recently.
Right. Yeah.
And it definitely reignited a little bit of that spark for streaming, because a lot of people, at least in terms of watching speedruns and enjoying speedruns, love watching people's progress on things. Like, sure, we have a lot of fantastic speedrunners in not just the Amnesia community, but all over the speedrunning community. We have such great speedrunners who know their tech, who know how to get shit done, who go in and, you know, week after week knock out world records for games. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, dude. The community, like, I didn't realize how big the community is for speedrunning.
Oh yeah.
It's huge.
Oh yeah. And it's one of those things for me where, like, I've only done two speed games. It was this one and then that one that I spearheaded for Sweet 776.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of those things for me where I genuinely love horror games. Like, horror games have been something that I've been a big fan of since I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to be able to do that and bring that into my space where I was already not doing stuff like that. I was playing, you know, the kind of run-of-the-mill, you know, horror games and Fortnite and Overwatch and all that kind of stuff. And I took a big gamble and did something completely different that wasn't a part of my, you know, regular repertoire, I guess you could say. And a lot of people loved it. A lot of people loved seeing that progress. I'm pretty sure if I went back into my downloaded clips that I have, there's a couple of clips of me just celebrating, figuring out how to do this clip or get out of bounds here, or, you know, get this speed boost there. And it's just little things like that that are just so fun to experience in speedrunning.
Mm-hmm.
And I've experienced it now on both sides of it, where I've been in someone's chat who's learning a speed run and watching them struggle, and then they finally get it. And it's like, oh my God, it's so cool. I did it. Like, it's a very fulfilling thing to do that and be a part of that. And I don't know, I feel like maybe jumping back into that might help with, you know, my progress in my life of things that I've got going on.
Is there any other horror games that you've thought of possibly speedrunning? I don't know why, but maybe because it was the first person view, but I wonder if you would ever take your hand at doing any weird speedruns with like the recent Resident Evil games.
It's funny you say that. Another friend of mine who's a streamer, shout out Jacob. He's one of my favorite buddies. Love that band. He was speedrunning Resident Evil 8 Village for a while. And I kind of thought about maybe doing that one because it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of fun, like out of bounds stuff you can do in that speedrun, and like I live for that kind of shit.
Yeah, right.
Like the out of bounds stuff is so damn cool to see happen.
Yeah, like Amnesia, that one part where you literally had to jump out of bounds, turn, and then get right up on the wall on that seam.
Yeah, and when I did that night, just in practice, was so like they call it in speed running when you stop doing a run for a solid amount of time, and you come back to it. They call it derusting or shaking off the rust.
Okay.
And that stream that you had came to the other night when I was doing that was basically a relearn / derust stream. And like I didn't even at the point in which I was doing that, I couldn't remember if there was a specific lineup for that trick or not. And so I go up to the wall, and all of a sudden I just ripped through to the void, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" So it's one of those things for me where I was like, okay, let's because you can do quick save and quick load,
right?
And so I was like, okay, F4. I'm gonna F4 right by the wall. That way I don't get sucked out of the wall or screw it up and fall into the void. And I think it was like 2 or 3 more tries after I did the refresh on it that I just right up to it, and I was like, yo,
nice.
It's just one of those things where. And I don't even think at that point in time when I was doing that practice run that I think I maybe got like a third, maybe halfway through the actual run.
Mm-hmm.
But like a lot of it was just muscle memory. And it's so weird because I haven't done it in that long. Like it's been 2 years since I last like haphazardly ran it for fun. And it's been about 4 years since I was dedicatedly running it, learning strats, practicing, doing streams on it. And
yeah, seeing you come back and doing some of those pieces with one try was crazy.
Right? No, it's crazy to me because like I'm a musician too, and like guitar and bass are pretty much like my main, like I can pick it up and muscle memory kicks in kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But like I'm like trying to kind of learn some keyboard piano stuff every now and then.
Oh, nice.
And I want to say it was like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago now. I sat down and like turned it on and kind of got comfortable, found, where I wanted to put my fingers and kind of, just play around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found myself starting to play Miserable at Best by Mayday Parade.
Isn't that fucking crazy how that works?
Like 2 years ago maybe, and like committed most of it to memory. And I just started going into it like it was nothing. And like I'm not fast on it. I'm slow at it still. Like I don't have the same
right
finger technique and speed that I would on a guitar. But it was just one of those things where it was like, okay, it's coming back to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how it was when I first got back on the drum kit. It was like how I said earlier, you need to sometimes push yourself over that edge a little bit to get back to what you love doing. Mm-hmm. Then when I finally sat down at the kit and started actually playing it, things started coming back to me, and it was like, oh, this is why I love this.
Right. Well, and I think you know this, but I started on the drums at like I think 9 or 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And like I had formal lessons. So like if you were to hand me like a drum like tablature book or like, you know, like a sheet music thing for like percussion, like it might take me a few minutes to reaffiliate myself with it because it's been years. But I know how to read that shit. I know how to do that kind of shit. And like I knew like technique and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, that's something that I've been trying to learn recently. Something that I neglected in the past was how to learn percussion sheet music, and so that's been pretty cool.
And it's one of those things where like I hear, you know, stuff in, you know, music, like, you know, a certain beat or a certain, you know, style or something like that. And like the drum instructor that I had, I wish I would have caught up with him or found him in my adult life, but his name was Scott Seacrest. And Scott, God forbid, if you end up listening to this somehow, dude, you taught me so much, and like thank you for that, because I ended up helping with the drum line in my high school because I had percussion knowledge.
Very nice.
Up to that point. And it like I didn't necessarily play in the drum line, but I was helping instruct, like show them technique and stuff like that for like, you know, rolls and fills and just kind of generally bestowing some knowledge on them. And I mean, you know, I'm 33 now, so it's been, you know, 15 years since I was in high school, but I can still get behind a kit and throw down a little bit. Like it's not, you know, God tier like Pac Sun from Knocked Loose or anything. But I can still keep a beat, and like I'm constantly, you know, tapping on my hands and you know, my knees and all that kind of stuff. Or like when I'm listening to music in the car, I'm keeping beat and all that. Like it's strange, like I guess you could say like the Dave Grohl effect in speaking, because when I pick up a guitar, like I'm mostly a rhythm guitarist. I don't play a whole lot of lead stuff. I'm not very like technically inclined like that. But I'm able to keep a beat. I'm able to keep things in time, and I'm learning, you know, a lot more finger technique with my right hand. More like, you know, strumming like finger style kind of stuff. I still, for the life of me, can't like shred like a lot of people can.
Same.
But I'm great at providing that backing layer of drive that you need, you know? And I think a big part of it for me is that I have that percussive background and being able to keep time and know, you know, like I'm able to keep in time with crazy time signatures. And, you know, like when I'm learning songs and all that, like I've always gravitated towards, you know, like that kind of progressive style of music. Like 4/4 is fun, and 4/4 can be an absolute blast. But like, have you heard of 7/4? Have you heard of anything other than 4/4? Have you heard 3/4?
Like I have tried like polyrhythm shit. My brain breaks every time.
I know. I get it. Playing guitar and polyrhythm.
Oh God.
Significantly easier than playing drums and polyrhythm. If you are not versed in your time signatures and know how to keep the beat going like that, because sometimes it's not even a matter of like crazy time sig changes and all that kind of stuff. Like you can be in like a 4/4 bar and then have like a bar of 5/4 as a transitionary bar. But you have to know when that comes in to make it make sense in context.
Right.
Like, and a lot of times you can hear it in certain pieces. But it's just a matter of having the ear for it. If you have the ear for it and you recognize when it happens in certain songs, it makes it just that much easier for you. There's I can't remember if it was on TikTok or Instagram Reels, but there was this guy that I found who basically counts the number of measures until there's a time signature change.
Oh wow.
I may have sent it to you. I can't remember if I sent it to you on TikTok, but the caption reads like day 141 of counting until the time signature change, and it's one of those funny little reminders for me of like recognizing that kind of shit.
Yep.
So it's just something like little funny thing where I'm just like, oh hey. I recognize that this is a time sig change in this song, and it just geeks me out. Little silly things like that.
Yeah, there's things within the music
graces me.
There's things like not only can it be a cue within the music, but live cues. You know.
Oh yeah.
Like looking at each other at certain points of the song, or a head nod, or
Mm-hmm.
And it's a feeling thing too. There's also a feeling, you feel when it's coming.
Oh, true. And that's one thing too with a lot of I've noticed it a lot in like metal and metalcore, especially these last couple of years, is a lot of these bands are really good at building tension in their songs without making it feel like there's tension.
Yeah, like forced
and
tension.
They do it so there's so much intent behind it.
Yeah.
That like maybe the song itself seems like it's driving, but really it's slowing down to get you to a point where it's like, okay, here we go. And the next thing you know, breakdown, and you're like, oh shit.
I love those build-ups.
Well, it's kind of like it's Blinding Faith. Knocked Loose, when they have that build up to that triple call out, the bend the knee, child of God.
You're right, yeah.
That, like, you can hear that they're building to something, but it doesn't sound like it, because then it just smacks you in the face. It's so well executed.
It gives you
because
the
it feels
face.
Exactly. It's so well executed because it's not a very long song. I think it's either just over or just under 3 minutes long. And you can hear the direction of the song as it's going. The way that they started off, they build it up, and you just hear Brian scream, blind egg face, and then it just explodes from there. And then they have this, like, almost, I don't want to call it a bridge because it's not quite a bridge, because the bridge comes after that call out.
Right.
But it's just so well executed. They build the tension of that without seemingly building the tension.
Yeah, when bands are able to pull off those transitions so smoothly like that, where it almost doesn't, where it almost doesn't. A musician is able to be like, "Oh yeah, there it is," but you know what I mean. But if you're just a casual listener and you can see that on someone else's face, where they're like, "Whoa, what just happened?"
That's me with key changes, bro. You can slap me in the face 1,000 times with a great breakdown. Don't get me wrong, but if you slap me with a great breakdown and then pull some like a day to remember key change shit, oh baby, we are making love. That shit gets me every fucking time, dude. And then another thing, just to round off like the music talk thing, is these bands that are starting to do these longer, like 6, 7, 8 minute songs that some of us in the prog scene have been used to for years with like Coheed and Cambria and all that.
Oh yeah.
You're getting, to bring up Coheed and Cambria, at the end of their last record, they had a song that literally felt like a fucking Broadway musical in 8 minutes.
Right.
It was like the Coheed Broadway musical, and it was like, what the fuck? You had like, it was basically Coheed's Bohemian Rhapsody. Like the way that it was executed, there was like just 5 separate little vignettes of flavor that just round off with this very poppy, driving, fun, like bouncy ending to it that like a lot of people that I talked to were kind of on both sides of the fence of it on it. And I'm just like sitting here with my fucking jaw hitting the floor like huh?
This really just happened.
Yeah. Like Window to the Waking Mind was just such a great fucking album as it was front to back, and then we get hit with that and it's like okay.
When bands
Thanks, guys.
When bands are so talented at what they do and they're so good at writing that those like those 8 to 10 minute songs do not even like it does not feel nowhere near the amount of
exactly time. Case in point, Sleep Token. Last year's Take Me Back to Eden. Yeah. Holy shit. I think we had 3 songs on that record that were 7+ minutes long, and every single one of them front to back slaps. Just there's no denying it.
And I think it's because
it was just
they're also
fucking hit after hit.
One of those artists that they know how to build that tension and build the song as it goes instead of it being repetitive throughout the entire thing.
Oh yeah, case in point, Ascensionism. Holy shit.
Yep.
Arguably the best song on that record, maybe next to the self-titled track, but god damn. Like the thing that I loved about not just that song but the whole record is they genre bent the fuck out of that album. And don't get me wrong, the first 2 records have a lot of genre bending in it, but that album had so much genre bending in it that you couldn't classify them as a metal band. Like they have metal roots.
Right.
They're very fucking heavy. They do a lot of cool metal shit. But you had songs like Are You Really Okay that was like it went hard, but it was like a very soft-mannered, like ballady type song. And then you have like the all synthy Do You Wish That You Love Me, which was like, huh? And then they closed the record with Euclid, which was very upbeat, kind of hopeful. And then at the very end, and this is like a fan theory, is that like whatever the next Sleep Token record is going to be a whole different like concept story kind of thing.
Oh, really? So
because
are they still going to go with the whole like vessel and everything?
I think they are, because that's just their shtick, I guess.
Right.
But what really makes me kind of believe that might be the case is the first album, the first track is called The Night Does Not Belong to God. And in it, there's a whole like middle bit that is like kind of it's kind of like the climax of the song that just builds up through the end of the song leading into the offering. And they reprise that at the end of Euclid, and it just gives you this weird dark sense of finality for whatever these first 3 records were. So, but it's weird because you can almost bookend it, hit play at the end of Euclid, and lead it directly into The Night Does Not Belong to God, and it almost feels seamless. It's not seamless. I don't know if they intended it to be that way, but it almost feels that way. And
I'd like to look and see if they do that live. I wonder if they do that live.
Yeah.
I wonder if they seam those together.
God, that would be so cool. Oh, that'd be so fucking cool. I live for that kind of shit.
Well, I think it was, I don't remember who, it may have been you that introduced me into Sleep Token, and I think it was it was either you or Eddie, and I think it was The Summoning, which is, one of their biggest songs.
I feel like it was Eddie, because Eddie was on that hype train, I think, before I was.
Okay.
But I mean, Eddie, God bless his soul, he's got fantastic taste in music too.
Right.
Love that man.
Yeah.
That song was such a gateway song for a lot of people, including myself. Just solely because of how eclectic it is. And for a lot of people, it was their first time hearing Vessel.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, this goes hard. And then all of a sudden you get to that end bit where it just sounds like a funk track. And you're like...
Right, exactly. And that's what I was talking about the build-up, dude. And that complete left field they throw at you at the end.
Right. And I hate the radio edit of that song because they cut that whole bit
ruined it
much down. And I hate that. Down with radio edits. I'm sorry, but down with radio edits. Sidebar.
I agree.
That is another, like, one of those kind of tension moments that first listen through of that song, you don't know where the fuck it's gonna go. You genuinely don't.
Because it's such a build up into that moment, and it almost feels like I was honestly expecting like a breakdown, and then he comes out of nowhere, and I was like, "Whoa, what? What is this voice I'm hearing right now?"
Exactly. When my love. It's like, what, sir? Huh? You're crooning now?
I'm wet.
Pardon me? Yeah, I'm wet.
I'm sliding out of my chair. What's happening?
It was just one of those things where hearing that for the first time, because my buddy Alex sends me music all the time. Sends me shit that I can't even keep up with most days. Okay. Like he sends me in, I just can't keep up with a lot of it. And we're always trading music back and forth. We're always sending bands to each other. And he sent me Sleep Token a couple of times. And I just, for whatever reason at the time, wasn't either connecting with it or just didn't get a chance to look at it or whatever the case may be. And I think the first real song that I had heard of theirs was Do You Wish You Love Me? And I was like, okay, this is intriguing. I could fuck with this.
Right.
And so I listened to the Summoning, and then I was like, oh.
I'm really in now.
And then I think Chokehold and Lore, I think, were the other two that I had heard. And I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. I'm listening. Okay. So we get on to May, and the album comes out, and I already had started, deep diving them a little bit, and I had found, like, don't get me wrong, Taking Back to Eden, the whole record front to back.
Yeah.
Absolutely slayed me. Like, I remember where I was the night that I had listened to that. I remember in painstaking details where I was at mentally when I heard that record.
So it hit.
But diving into them more, I found that their second album, This Place Will Become Your Tomb, has just some of the most well-structured tracks that they've released. And that's not to discredit Eden by any means, because that record just hits.
Given its place, this This Place Will Become Your Tomb is just a fantastic album.
They did some cool fucking shit on that album. Fall For Me with the vocoder effect on there, where the whole song is just Vessel with a vocoder. Just, it was so unexpected on that first listen through, and I was like,
whoa.
Holy shit, dude. And then is it Dark Signs or is it High Water? I think Dark Signs is on Sundowning, and High Water is on Tomb. But that song just it has this fun little build up with the synth, and then it just carries you to the end, and it's like, oh.
I think the biggest song that I heard off of that album, if I remember correctly, is Alkaline.
Oh, fucking Alkaline, dude.
Yeah, Alkaline's a really good one.
All I can think of whenever I hear that song now, though, are the videos I've seen of Vessel from TikTok at the shows where he's like slowly like doing this like a robot walk up to the mic
Yeah,
stand.
I know what you're talking about.
He grabs the mic stand and like caresses it. You just hear this girl in the crowd like moaning over it. It's so stupid, but it's so funny. It's all I can think of now anytime I think of that song. It gets stuck in your head. That song is so fucking wonderful, dude. I love that song so much.
Sometimes when you see like memes that like are over the one thing that you love or like a lot, and then every time that you hear or see that specific thing, you can think of nothing but that meme, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, that reminds me of Welcome Home by Coheed and Cambria. There's a line where he says, "Fucking up all I do."
Yeah.
But an old friend of mine who I've seen Coheed with a couple of times, we were in the car one time on the way to see them, and he screams, "Barking apple of doom." He did it with the intention of making me be like, what the fuck did you just say?
Yeah.
And ever since, it's just been stuck in my head. And even though I don't try to say it, I hear it in my head every fucking time I hear Welcome Home now. It just kills me. Oh, fuck. That's funny. It's little like shit like that too that like is a big thing for me, is bonding over music. Like a big majority of people that I'm friends with in my life, I've created those friendships because of music.
Yeah, I know.
Going
that
to shows,
we share music constantly all the time.
Yeah, no, your music sharing nights are one of my favorite damn things. I love being able to come over to the stream, share what I'm listening to, and see what the vibe is like with everybody else.
That's why I love whenever you're there, specifically on music nights, because I know that you love music as much as I do.
Well, and I'm a live show junkie. Like, I don't get to go to as many as I would love to. But when I'm at a show, even if I'm there alone, like, it feels so much like home. I feel like that's where I need to be, you know?
Dude, I don't know what's happened like over the years, but whenever I was a teenager, we had so many people that were so invested in the local music scene that they would do everything in their power to throw on these local shows for, you know, all these local bands, whether it be local from the next state or whatever, or within the state itself. But as we grew up, that whole scene just died. There is no one throwing local shows anymore. And another thing is, like, it's so hard. Maybe I'm just not looking good enough or something, but it's so hard for me to find like local bands here in Kentucky. Like, it used to be so easy back in the day, and maybe it was maybe MySpace was just a better place for stuff like that, because that's how
it absolutely was.
Because that's how everybody found out their new favorite bands, or, you know, local bands. And it's so hard to find that for some reason for me on Facebook or anywhere else.
Yes, sir. I will say firsthand that guys who I'm friends with still to this day, I met because of the Minneapolis local scene having a big prominent space with MySpace, and then the early days of Twitter and Facebook. A lot of the bands that I've found now in the cities up here, it's mostly been word of mouth, or like going and seeing friends' bands play. Like, I've got friends who are in a couple bands and they play shows, and it's one of those things for me where I am so in love with local music. Love local music, love supporting local artists, love supporting friends who are local artists. And it's just so hard to keep up with trying to find new bands to listen to. We got into this band called Bouquet from Iowa.
Okay.
And as it turns out, I'm sad we missed the show, but they were coming here to play a show with a band from Minneapolis that I'd never heard of called Careful Gaze.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like kind of emo, screamy, like
okay.
They harken back to like, the 2010s flavor of music.
Like Hawthorne Heights, maybe?
And a little bit, yeah, a little bit. And I'm sad we missed that show, but I just found out that they're playing a show on August 10th. And I was supposed to go to a wedding on August 10th, but because of reasons I can't now.
Mm-hmm.
And so you bet your fucking ass I'm going to that show.
There you go, yeah.
Like, I love them. Couple of, well, I guess now I'm kind of friends with the band, but
nice.
My friend Gavin plays in a band called Green Top.
Mm-hmm.
Look them up on Spotify. They're really fucking good. They got some new shit coming out here soon. Shout out Green Top.
Yeah, dude. Like any local bands you got out there, shout them out for real.
Yeah. No, Green Top. My buddy Gavin plays in that band, and I finally got to see them live for the first time in like the 4 years that I've been listening to them.
Was that was that who you? It was on your Snap stories. Who was that you went and seen recently that was on your Snap story?
Oh, that I'll get into because that was a great show.
Okay.
But no, this was I think it was end of May before I moved, I think was when we went to go see them, or maybe it was June that we went to go see Green Top play. But that was such a good show, and like the opening acts were all so good. There was one in particular that comes to mind. The group name was Daphne Jane. They were really, really good. They had a really good energy. They had a really fun vibe, and it gives me hope for the Minneapolis scene.
Yeah.
And especially because there's a lot of old Minneapolis bands that broke up that are now getting back together. Shout out Take Cover.
Nice.
My Minneapolis boys. Love them. So glad they dropped a new single recently. It's so fucking good.
Hell yeah.
But I love the touring acts, the bands of yesteryear that are still playing shows and, getting out there and doing it. But it just seems like, that niche is dying off. And I hate it.
I do too.
I absolutely hate it.
I feel like there's been maybe, I'm not going to say that it is happening, but it feels like there is a big lack in like the local music scene in general. Maybe I'm just not where it's popping at anymore, but it's just, it feels so dead compared to whenever I was a teenager.
Right. But what I am loving is that there are bands that have slightly bigger fan bases that are taking these smaller, lesser known bands or
that's
hometown
awesome.
bands and stuff like that out.
I love that.
When we went to go see Knocked Loose, they had a band opening for them called Speed, and they're a hardcore band from Australia. I'd never heard of them, but Alex had, and I was fucking blown away at how cool they were. They had such a fucking fun live presence. Their songs were loud, fast rock. Like, they just pedal to the metal, and they had like a couple of fun switch ups during the show. So like, they had a guy that was primary vocals. All of a sudden, he switches with another guy who's on bass.
Oh, okay.
And takes over, and the guy that was on bass is now doing vocals. And then all of a sudden they switch back, and then like 2 songs later, the guy who was playing guitar is now taking over mic, and the guy who was singing is playing guitar.
See, that is so cool. That is so cool.
This is punk as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this is like the old school hardcore shit that you used to go to shows locally at. Like,
I love that.
They created that atmosphere and warmed up the crowd in a way that I hadn't seen that before. And then of course you had Loathe come on, and Loathe has this like moody metal vibe to them. But their lead singer Kadeem just goes so fucking hard vocally, and I'm just gonna put myself on blast here, but god damn, that man is so attractive. I'm just gonna say it. God damn.
I've been seeing a lot of shit about Kubla Khan's singer.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That shit fucking kills me too. But like all the pop girlies, I guess, are pining over him and making memes and shit. And I'm like, I mean, if the pop girlies are starting to come over to the hardcore shit, I mean, we're not gonna shut you out. Come on over, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like that's something that I've been really enjoying, is seeing these smaller bands open up for bigger bands.
That's awesome. And I think it's something that bigger bands should be doing. I think that they should
absolutely.
They should be looking. I wouldn't say it's a whole stepping down thing, but it is a, hey, you need to recognize that, you know, the next set of bands, the younger set of bands, are on their way up, and you should help them. You should help them.
Absolutely. Look at where you were 10 years ago. Look at where they are now.
We don't have record labels anymore we don't have record labels anymore that you know, that run everything to put out the next big band. So I think it's now under the I won't say responsibility, but in a way it almost is a responsibility of these bigger bands to put on these smaller bands.
Oh yeah. Well, kind of case in point of what you're saying about like record labels not running this shit anymore. Bill Murray. Like, dude, Johnny Frank.
Yes.
Started this as more of like a moody, sludgy, you know, rock kind of thing that he was doing post Attack Attack. And now this man is hopping all over the genres and just shitting on the industry in the best way.
He is killing it.
So fucking good. I love Bill Murray so fucking much. It's so good. Like the genre bending, the sax metal, the country riffage that he's been doing.
The country shit is killing me, dude.
When he dropped Better Hell, and it's got like that country twang to it, and then just randomly throughout the song you just hear him go, oh, the hardcore, not quite the blah, but he's just like, ooh. It's like, dude, this is great. This is the shit that we've been waiting for.
Oh yeah,
it's just this blend of genres that makes it more accessible for people. Because I've never really been a country guy. I like the old school country up to like early 2000s.
Right.
After that, the genre, in my opinion, for the most part, has just been dog shit.
Yeah, it's bad.
You have artists like Hardy who are blending his original country energy that he was putting out with rock, with heavy, with you know, kind of like this rap, you know, kind of energy to it. And the entire fucking record slapped.
I feel like Bill Murray's also one of those groups that are very much aware of what it's doing. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he doesn't give a fuck. It's great. But like Bill Murray, Hardy, Beartooth collaborated with Hardy on a track and kind of had a little bit of that twang on there. It was incredible. Changing like genres a little bit. Noah Khan. Fantastic singer-songwriter, has really brought me back into the singer-songwriter space. Phoebe Bridgers, Julian Baker, Lucy Dacus, the whole Boy Genius thing was a fucking just how they went under the radar, wrote that whole record, released it, and then just
blew up.
Said, yeah, here. Enjoy this.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they were huge. And don't get me wrong, all three of them individually, huge as it is, but their success,
great artists,
is defined by the fact that they wrote a fantastic front to back, no skip record.
When you have 3 seasoned musicians come together, and when you have seasoned musicians that understand music and can feel the music, that naturally will create a powerhouse of a group.
And that's one thing that I really loved about that record is I started jumping into Julian and Lucy respectively after diving into that Boy Genius record I did. I'd always been a little bit of a Phoebe Bridgers fan as it was, but the fact that you can listen to individual songs of theirs and then go back and listen to both the EP and the full album that they did together as Boy Genius, you can hear a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, all sprinkled in together. And it's not just like, oh, Boy Genius is just Phoebe Bridgers with 2 other chicks, or it's Julian Baker with 2 other chicks, or it's Lucy Dacus with 2 other chicks. Boy Genius is a culmination of all 3 of them writing just seasoned, just well-seasoned, solid tracks together.
Well, that's what interested me about...
It blew my mind.
About the band. I think you said Speed did it, where they were swapping out vocalists.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool that it's an all-inclusive, and they make sure that people know that it's an all-inclusive thing for this group.
Well, and the great thing about that record, and I'm going to soapbox this for just a second with that record, because front to back, I said, no skips. You get a song that's very Phoebe coded. You get a song that's very Julian coded.
Right.
You get a song that's Lucy coded. You get a song that kind of feels like a mix of 2. You get a song that kind of feels like a mix of the other 2. You get a song that feels like a mix of the other 2. And then you get Not Strong Enough. And that song, holy shit, dude. It sounds like the perfect culmination of everything that's great about the 3 of them individually. You take it, you put it in a blender, you pour it out, and it's Boy Genius. It's such a perfect example of what you can do as individual artists.
Yeah.
Making contributions to a song versus coming together and creating a song together as a unit. Like, there's collaborating where you have like, this is X band featuring Y artist,
right?
And then you have Boy Genius, and I think that's one of those kind of setting the gold standard kind of things, kind of like them Crooked Vultures, where it was
good example,
combination of John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin, Dave Grohl, you know who Dave Grohl is, everybody knows who Dave Grohl is,
know who Dave Grohl is,
and Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age. It was a perfect culmination of the 3 flavors of those different groups rolled into something completely unique.
And I love
them Crooked Vultures didn't sound like anything that they had done before.
No.
But it also sounded like everything that they had done before.
But you could tell whenever somebody was doing a very specific thing, you'd be like, "Oh, that's so and so doing that," or you know what I mean? Like you can hear it and pick it out, all at the same time. You're like, "Damn, this is their blend is just so seamless." But at the same time, I can be like, "Oh, that's Dave Grohl," or you know what I mean? Like,
exactly. And it's one of those things, like going back to the Boy Genius thing, for example. They did that record. They released an additional EP with 4 songs that were like the leftovers from the writing process of the record, which those 4 tracks were also fantastic. And then we're left to wonder, like, what's next? Well, what's next is we're going to get a fucking phenomenal Phoebe Bridgers record. We're going to get a phenomenal Lucy Dacus record. And we're going to get a phenomenal Julian Baker record. And you're going to go from Boy Genius, hear these 3 new records that we're going to get, and you're still going to feel the energy of the other 2 on each respective record.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of got that after the Boy Genius EP, and then they all 3 went off and did their own separate records after that.
Right.
Because each of them had a song on those respective records that tied into each other. So there was one that was Phoebe's featuring Lucy and Julian, and then Lucy's featuring Phoebe and Julian, and then Julian's featuring Phoebe and Lucy. And whether or not we get that on all three of those records again for the new ones, or we get some kind of, you know, hey, we threw some vocals in here, vocals in there, you know, whatever the case may be, if there's going to be Easter eggs or something, Phoebe's going to do something that sounds Julian coded or Lucy coded, and vice versa and versa versa. And that's the beautiful thing about it, is that doing something so adventurous as this Boy Genius record, and then going off and doing their own thing now.
Yeah.
They're going to have learned things from each other.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. Being in these powerhouse bands with other seasoned musicians, you take other things away to then apply to your own music.
And I feel like as fans of music who also, you know, aspire to play their own music or be involved in music in that way, we have to take and adapt what we learn from these other artists. And again, that's also going as far as supporting smaller artists. Like, you know, I hate to bring her up because, you know, Kevin, when you're listening to this, you're gonna flip your tits, but Taylor Swift, bringing significantly smaller artists out on the Eras tour. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but I will give her absolute fucking credit. There was clips of the shows where some of her fans were just bored with some of these artists, and they're fucking fantastic. Boy Genius, or not Boy Genius specifically, but Phoebe Bridgers played several dates and had the Boy Genius guys come out and do a couple of songs. Paramore has been supporting them, and there's been, like, you know, people kind of bopping and jiving in the crowd or whatever, and then you have a very vocal minority of people who are massive Paramore fans who are also happening to be attending the Eras tour because they like Taylor Swift.
Right.
That to me is huge because Paramore is a massive band, but apparently Paramore and Taylor Swift don't mesh well together in terms of the fan base.
Yeah, apparently neither do Foo Fighters and Taylor Swift.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. But like, what else? There was another example I was thinking of. Olivia Rodrigo bringing Chapel Roan out on the Guts World Tour.
Oh, I didn't see
now
that.
Chapel Roan blew the fuck up. Chapel Roan is huge.
Nice.
And for good reason. She writes really good fucking music. Like, I genuinely enjoy her music. And it's like she's taking the world by storm now.
See, and that's like you were just saying, that's the exact reason. Like, there are so many good artists out there. So many good artists out there that just don't have a way of getting themselves known unless, you know, these bigger bands or something give them the chance to show what they've got.
And that is one reason why I am a big fan of musicians on Twitch. I'm friends with several musicians on Twitch. I spend Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights in a guy's stream, and he is just a absolutely fucking powerhouse talented guy.
Is that the dude you rated the other night?
Yeah. Shout out twitch.tv/closure club.
Very talented dude.
Is on speaking terms with William Ryan Key from Yellow Card because he raided Closure, and then he ended up going, I can't remember if it was, I don't know the whole story, but I think he went backstage at a Yellow Card show recently because Ryan raided him, and then he played a Yellow Card song, and Ryan was like, bruh.
Oh, wow, really?
So, like, for me, seeing that kind of thing happen in real time...
That's so cool.
...on Twitch is, like... That's the kind of recognition. And again, you know, this is just another avenue of, you know, like, local bands doing their thing. Well, there's artists who are doing their thing on Twitch who deserve the fucking recognition. Like, there are some people on Twitch who could be touring the fucking world with how goddamn talented they are. And they'll sit in this niche, maybe their entire career. Who knows? Who genuinely knows? But there are people out there who fucking deserve the recognition, and like this guy's absolutely one of them. Alana Maddie, another one, fantastic singer-songwriter. I believe she's currently out of Nova Scotia. My friend Cam, out of Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Cam's great, and Cam's been slowly gaining some traction.
Oh yeah,
he's doing great.
My friend Bryant, out of Kansas City. Like these folks deserve so much more recognition than they get, and I swear, if I had the ability to blow these guys up to the point where they would be going on tours and being able to do this shit fully for a living without having to have a care in the world, because they have that thing. They have that thing that attracts people, that connects them to the music.
Right.
And it's such a passion that you can see and hear when they're playing their songs and going live for sometimes hours, playing music and talking and like getting to know the people that are in their chats. And it's one of those things for me where these people deserve the fucking world, dude. Yeah. They really do.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is like sort of not next stage of local music, but like that adjacent stage to local music. And I feel like this side of Twitch needs absolutely more recognition than it's getting.
100%, I agree, and I think that I think more of these artists, you know, there are so many artists out here that do guitar streams, you know, just single instrument streams. If people would reach out to each other, man, like they could even, like Twitch could have its own like powerhouse bands, you know what I mean? Just because if people would just connect more, you could do dual streams and play live music for people online. Like, it would be really cool to be someone to like set that up for people. Like, hey, I think you should go collab with this person or this person. Just be another way to help get yourself out there. Now that's if you're, you know, now I understand there are some musicians who just want to be cover bands, because I understand that that is a thing. I know that some artists have learned by being a cover artist, so I guess that's where they find their comfort. But I think it would be something interesting to see is more musicians on Twitch hooking up with each other.
Shout out to Closure again. Him and another streamer on Twitch. His name is Julian Bellhumor. They actually just released a joint single together.
Oh.
That is like pop punk as fuck.
Ooh,
and it's a project that they're working on. They have an EP dropping, I think, later this year, from my understanding. And it's like they have a name for the project. They're writing, they're doing all this shit, and it's so cool to see that, because I got into Closure earlier this year because of a raid that happened. I had been to Julian's stream a handful of times, listening, lurking, you know, hearing this man. He is definitely another Twitch streamer that needs to be blowing the fuck up, is Julian Bellhumor.
Okay.
But the song that they released, it's just so fucking good. It's so catchy. It's pop punk as fuck. It literally, as Heath himself said it, it belongs on a playlist with the story so far. Like it's right up that alley.
Nice.
And it's just I hope to fuck that these guys blow up and get recognition that they deserve, because the talent between the two of them individually already massive. When you stick them together, it's explosive. It is gonna be huge, and I'm so stoked about it.
You gotta send me that.
I absolutely will. Doing it right now, actually.
Okay, cool. I'll check that out tomorrow.
When is your next music night, by the way?
Music nights are usually on Saturdays. I'd kind of taken a break from them. So now I think starting this week, probably bring them back.
Hell yeah. Well, we'll have to get it with some closure. I think on Saturday this week, I'll have to introduce you to him because he just dropped a new single last night as well, and it's an absolute, without a doubt, banger.
Yeah. The biggest point of these music nights, not only to go back and maybe have a nostalgia night where you listen to, old good songs that you grew up with, or I think the biggest thing is that I want to. The original idea I had with that was to learn about local bands more. I want to try to give it a spot to where people can come in and be like, hey, check out my friend's band, or you know what I mean. Like I want people to possibly show us like a next big band. So yeah,
well, I mean, once that new Green Top drops, I'll drop some of that in there for sure.
Please do.
Yeah, those are my boys.
You mentioned we were talking about the band that you had went and seen recently.
Oh yeah, that was the Dangerous Summer, and I had been into them about a decade ago, give or take. I was listening to them pretty heavily in a rotation, and they kind of fell off the map for a couple of years. And it was about 7 years ago now that they got back together, put out a new album, and they've just been flying since. And they're putting out just solid record after solid record. And I just kind of got back into them recently, and we had found out that they were going to be playing here with Bad Luck. They're another kind of punk band from New York, and I was just so down for that because they had a song that kind of really hit for a long time for me. It was called "The Permanent Rain," and I was like, you know what, let's go. So me and another friend of mine tried to convince a couple other people, didn't work. So just the two of us went, had a couple beers, watched the show, had a great time, and not just the stage presence, but the energy, even though it was a smaller show and these guys have been playing together for something like 20 years, give or take, you could feel that the energy in the room was just light. It was just a different atmosphere for being a touring band's show, but not a huge show.
Right.
Like it wasn't like sold out by any means.
The stage didn't seem huge. It was they were pretty close to the crowd.
Well, it was kind of I don't want to call it a hole in the wall bar because it's a really fun place. It's called the Turf Club in Minneapolis.
I know what you mean when you say that. I know what you mean.
Yeah. And it's just one of those venues that like gets a lot of attention for the punk shows that come through there. And I've seen a couple of shows there. I saw Justin Pierre from Motion City there a couple of times. I've seen Screaming Females there before, and it's a great venue. Like you can really get, shoulder to shoulder bustling and dancing around and having a good time there.
Nice.
And despite how much smaller the crowd was for that show, we had a fucking blast. They put on such a great show, and AJ, the lead singer, comes out at the end of the show and stands in the pit with everybody and just screaming the lyrics to The Permanent Rain together is just such a awesome, wholesome moment to see, because you don't see a lot of that with bands that have been together for, 15, 20 years, because they're usually playing these bigger sold out stages.
I love that.
And not to mention, like, their music just hits. They write some really relatable, really honest, really cool shit. They just released a new record. I want to say it was a couple weeks ago, or maybe even a week ago. I can't remember the date that it came out, but it's called Gravity. Definitely worth checking out. Yeah, it's on Spotify.
Cool.
Definitely worth checking out. There's a couple of real hitters on there for sure. The one song from that night that has been really resonating with me, well, actually, there's two of them. There's one that's called Way Down. That was from one of their, like, I don't want to call it their reunion records, but it was from one of their recent albums that they did after they got back together. And then same goes for the song Ghosts. So, like, if I was going to give you 3 songs to check out by them, Pacific Ocean off the new record, Way Down, and Ghosts, for sure. All fantastic songs.
Okay.
AJ's just got such a way with words. He says what he needs to say, but a lot of the time he says it really eloquently, even though it doesn't come off as eloquent because it's, you know, pop punk music.
Right.
But they do some really fun stuff, and it was a really, really enjoyable live show. It really kind of,
I mean, I could even tell through the videos watching them. I was like, I love this energy.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like they weren't just standing there just playing their instruments. Like they were, you know, grooving it. Their drummer was really, really feeling himself that night, so you could see him thrashing on the kit. Oh, and he's a lefty flip drummer too.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with like a lefty playing a righty, like Josh Shepard from Coheed.
Right, he was
playing a fully left-oriented kit. It was so cool.
There for a second, I was like, "Is the video flipped?"
Yeah, right.
But no, full on left kit.
And then like it didn't really show too well in the video because obviously AJ was down in the crowd. But when AJ is up on the stage playing bass, if he's not singing, he's just grooving, dude. Like he's getting into it. He's, you know, not thrashing about, but you see him kind of, you know, nodding his head back and forth and doing, you know, the back and forth bassist step. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Kind of swaying around to the shit, and he plays some really cool bass parts. Like he I don't know what it is, but he writes some really fucking cool bass parts, and you see him playing these awesome bass parts while still singing and keeping time with everybody else, and it's just impressive. And seeing him do that live is like, whew, wow.
There's nothing better than watching a live musician that knows what they're doing but can also feel the music and move to it.
100%.
I don't care how good you are at your instrument. If you look boring to me on stage, I'm gonna get bored. You know what I mean?
There's a band that I could talk about right now, but I'm not going to because I know you like them.
I know exactly where you were going with this. They were the first band I thought of too.
Yep,
Even though I like the band, you know, if you're boring live, you're boring live.
Exactly. Like people just get so worked up about them, and it's just like, dude, they're just sitting there playing. They're not even like engaging the crowd, and like your guitarist, who's like the face of the band, doesn't say a fucking word the entire show, and it's your bassist who's talking to the crowd. Like, don't get me wrong, I get it.
Yeah.
But like,
embrace your community.
Exactly. And case in point, I saw another instrumental band, and I'm not going to drop instrumental band A's name, but instrumental band B is Chan. And they were fucking awesome live, and they had a presence, and they were talking to the crowd and engaging. And the crowd was significantly smaller than the last time that I saw band A live, because they were opening for Dance Gavin Dance. Like, the crowd was massive, and I was literally falling asleep in place. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on their music. Like, they have a couple of songs that are kind of intriguing to me.
Right.
Most of it just sounds like noise most of the time, but that's, again, just my opinion. I'm not saying it's bad music. It just doesn't appeal to me.
Mm-hmm.
But you have them open for a band like Dance Gavin Dance. Dance Gavin Dance goes on, and they're all over the fucking place.
Right, yeah, they're like moving.
Like, and this was still during the Tillian Pearson era. So, like, you know, you got Tillian doing body rolls. You got John fucking swaying back and forth because he's stoned off his ass. You have Mingus, like, headbanging while he's thrashing the kit. Tim, God rest his soul, was still alive when we saw them.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim was just fucking vibing the whole time. Will Swan is Will Swan. You can't talk shit about Will Swan. The dude shreds, and he still acknowledges people in the crowd. And then with, you know, the last few years of the band, we got blessed to have Andrew Wells join the band.
Yeah.
And not only is he Daddy Dola, oh my God, that man can crush me, but he's got such a good fucking voice and stage presence. And he's one of, like, the big crowd engagers of the band, too. Like, he talks to the crowd. He hypes the crowd up during shit. And that's one of those bands that just has such a presence live. You can hear it on their albums that they're quality musicians, that they know what the fuck they're doing. They know how to play their instruments. But you get them on stage, and it's like, this is a fucking show, dude.
That's what I'm saying. Even if it's a band I don't like, I can still appreciate your presence on stage.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have good presence on stage, I'll commend you for it.
Exactly. And that's another big thing that I love is I love theatrics when it comes to shows.
Yes.
Like, don't get me wrong, if you're a band that's, you know, small and you don't have the budget to have, you know, wild theatrics and cool stage setups and all that, just do your fucking thing. It's like, cool. Like, we're happy you're here. We're happy you're giving us your time and your energy and providing a show for us. But then there's these bands that have these crazy, elaborate, cool setups for shit and then give you a whole fucking experience. Just blows my fucking mind. Case in point, the 1975.
Oh, yeah. Good.
I've seen them twice live. And, like, mind you, I used to shit on that band. I used to say the band was fucking terrible because I thought Chocolate was the worst song I've ever heard. Changed my mind since. I genuinely love the band now.
That's usually how it goes.
It's true. Very true. But these last two tours that they did regarding their new record and everything, they had this cool, and I think I might have shown you pictures and videos from both times that I saw them, but they had this, like, set design thing where it's like, they're in a house and they're having, like, a little shindig get together and everybody's there and having a good time. And then they pick up their instruments and they play the show. And the first leg of the tour, you can tell that Matty Healy is very, very drunk on stage, but he's playing it up as a character almost. Like, he's still playing the music and still singing the songs, and it's a great fucking show.
Right.
But then they have, like, this little middle bit where he, like, takes his shirt off and he's doing push-ups, and then he looks at the TV and he crawls into this set of TVs and disappears, and it's like the intermission for the show. And then he comes back, he's in a whole different outfit. And, like, I can't remember exactly what the themes of it all were supposed to be, but it was supposed to be like this descent into madness and then this return to sanity. And with the second leg of the tour, it showed a guy who was coming back from the brink of this insanity and this, you know, crisis that he was going through. Now all of his friends are over at the house and they're having a good time, and then they play the show, and, like, you can see that, like, not only Maddie this character, but Maddie the person is just in a better place.
Right. It's a whole story. You kind of
see this, exactly, you see this evolution of this theatrical performance that they're doing play out over the 2.5 years that they've been doing this. And it was just such a cool fucking experience to see that both times. I mean, I went from seeing them in, like, a giant venue to a massive stadium. I saw them at the Armory in Minneapolis, and the next show, back in October, they're playing the Target Center, which is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're playing the fucking Target Center, you're a big deal. Like, it's a big place. It's a lot of seats, and I'm pretty sure it was close to, if not sold out.
Nice.
Like, They had to have been within, from memory, just looking back at the upper nosebleed sections, kind of where we were.
So
they were still semi-full. So it's like, it's wild to me. Like, there's bands like that are doing the damn thing, still engaging the crowd, still doing cool theatrical shit. And then you have these small-time bands that are doing the exact same thing without the theatrics, without, all the sound effects and over dramatics. They're literally just playing a fucking rock show and having a good time and giving their best to the crowd. There's no
overall
between the
good
two.
Band.
Exactly. I live for that kind of shit. I live for crowd participation. I live for being in those moments, because sometimes it's so fleeting,
Yeah. It can take you completely out of your reality for a while.
Yeah, really. It really can. Music is therapy. I will say that much.
Yeah, I think that's something everybody can agree with. Music is definitely a type of therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you say, even if you had to like make a top 3, top 5, whatever, but who have been your favorite bands to see live?
Favorite bands to see live. Okay. I'm gonna go with Motion City Soundtrack for sure. I've seen those guys, approaching 16, 17 times in total. They're my Minneapolis homeboys. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I know those guys semi-personally. Like, I gotta support them when they're here. Coheed for sure. I've seen them 12.5 times, I think. And those shows never fail to be...
Ever. They never fail.
They never fail to be something new every time, even if most of the songs are the same that are being played.
Their shows are an experience.
Oh, God, yeah. Every single time. I'm definitely going to put the 1975 on that list for sure. Just the 2 times that I've seen them have just been experiences. They've genuinely been experiences that I'll never forget.
Okay.
Mayday Parade, for sure. I've really enjoyed every single time that I've seen Mayday Parade. They always put on a good show. They always bring out the heavy hitters and always try to have a good supporting roster for their opening acts.
That's cool.
So I respect that, and they just put on a good fucking show, dude. Mayday Parade fucks.
That's one band I still haven't seen.
Definitely worth it. Man, it's tough because there's so many that I could say.
Right. It could be even local bands too.
So many. No, I know. I'm trying to think of what I've seen in recent memory that was just a hitter like that. Sleep Token would definitely be top 10. I don't know if I'd put them in top 5.
Okay. But definitely a good show.
But they would, yeah, that was definitely a great fucking show.
I understand how you feel because I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, honestly, just for the sake of it, because of how wild that show was, Knocked Loose.
Yeah.
I never thought that I would enjoy going to a heavy show like that.
Energy's wild.
The energy is just immaculate, dude. And it reminds me of going to local shows from back in the day, because they very much embrace the, if someone falls, you pick them up. If someone gets hurt, you help them. yes, we want you to beat the shit out of each other, but we want you to beat the shit out of each other with respect.
Right, and take care
and
of
make
each
sure
other.
that you take care of each other.
Yeah.
It was definitely an experience for sure.
You know, that seems to have always been a rule ever since I've been going to shows. Is I've always heard bands, even local bands, big bands, always say, "Look after the people in the crowd. If someone falls, pick them up."
Mm-hmm.
I think even when when I got to see Hatebreed, they were the same way. They're like, "Look, we want you to do the thing, get wild, but don't be trampling people."
Right, exactly.
Because, dude, it can happen in an instant. I have fell in the pit, and it's scary. It's scary.
It can be. It absolutely can be.
You feel like you're just getting trampled by a bunch of elephants.
Yup.
So,
I will say as well, another one that I would kind of maybe throw in there, that I've had a lot of fun at was the Wonder Years.
The Wonder Years?
Yeah, those guys really know how to put on a fun show.
Fun, and their songs are so damn emotional too.
I know. I've sobbed every time that I've seen them. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that is just like like an honorable mention kind of thing. I did have a good time seeing Claudio's side act, the Prize Fighter Inferno.
Oh yeah, that's right.
In,
I remember you told
February.
me you saw them.
Yeah, that was a really cool fucking show, and especially because like I've obviously been following Claudio for the better part of 20 years almost, but like experiencing his side project, having been a fan of that since the first record came out, was really just a whole ass experience. Because it was just so fun. Like, and plus he's playing with his wife, dude. Like,
I think that's so cool.
Seeing him look over at Chandra and just watching them be so like coupley and lovey-dovey the whole time, while also putting on this really fun like power poppy electronica show. It was so cool, dude.
Putting
it was so fucking
something
cool
together that is so genuine. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like that's absolutely another one that I would put on like an honorable mentions list for sure.
Nice.
Trying to think if there's any like.
Well, I'll ask you this: who would you like to see live?
Oh, who would I like to see live? I've been getting a lot into Hozier again recently. And that man, not only can he write really fucking incredible songs, but the voice on that man is just crazy. He's coming here, I think, in August.
Ooh, nice.
And I'm half tempted to try to get like some nosebleed seats.
Oh, okay.
Because like it doesn't even matter, dude. It's Hozier. You know what I mean? I think he's playing like the Axel Energy Center too, so it's like the biggest stadium I think in the cities.
Just imagine you being in front row and just.
Oh, that'd be wild. That would be bonkers. There's also another band that I think I've mentioned them to you before. They're called Casey. They're from, I want to say they're from Scotland.
Oh, I don't know if you have shown me these guys.
Because Alex got me into them. No, they're not Scottish. They're Welsh. That's what it was. But they can't tour at the moment because of a medical situation with their lead singer. But like, oh, dude, they're so good. They're so good. Also, Dayseeker is another band that I would love to see again. I didn't get to really enjoy them the last time I saw them because I didn't really know them that well. But I've been really digging into them a lot recently, and they are...
What kind of band are they?
They are kind of on the same page as kind of like your Dance Gavin Dances. kind of like that, like swancore style.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them again live and actually enjoy the show that time and know, like, oh my god, I'm seeing fucking Dayseeker. And I'd love to see Knock Loose again, dude. Frankly, that shit, god, that was such a fucking experience, dude.
It looked like one, and every time I've seen clips of their videos from playing all these shows they've been doing, I'm just like, damn, that takes me back to like local show feeling. You know what I mean? Like, it was that same feeling I was talking about earlier, like with local shows, man. Like when I watch them, I'm like, man, that just takes me back.
Right. I would love to see Loathe again too. Loathe really, really impressed me. Like, I had already been a little bit of a fan of them as it was, but man, they killed it. They did such a good fucking show. It was just mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing.
You think Warped Tour can make a comeback if they tried?
Dude, I was just talking to somebody about this earlier today. You know the story about Franz from Attila wanting to buy the rights and everything from Kevin Lyman, right?
Yeah.
As much as I fucking hate the guy because he's just so insufferable.
Yeah.
Not only does he have the money to make it happen,
I think he would have the know-how. Like he would know who to put in.
So many years.
Yeah.
He's been playing it since at least 2005, 2006, if memory serves. Like, he's been there. He was there almost every year with Attila.
It's the same thing we talked about earlier. It's like, it don't matter if I like you or not. If you can get the job done correctly, I'll give you props, man.
I respect what he does. I just don't like him.
Right.
But I will give him all due credit if he can bring Warped Tour back. And like, I'm not even trying to make it like any kind of silly political meme or anything like that, but if he can make Warped Tour great again,
yeah,
fuck, dude, you would catch me there every single summer again. I don't care how fucking old I am.
Oh, I'll be there.
I will fucking be there. I will be in those pits, jumping, dancing, screaming, having the time of my fucking life. Without a doubt. I hope it happens. Truthfully, I hope it happens because, fuck, dude, Warped Tour was the one thing I looked forward to for the summer because it was basically my birthday and then summer, and then that was basically it. Like, I had nothing really that I was like intently looking forward to until after, you know, like not necessarily the school year, but like, you know, the latter half of the year starts. And it was always the perfect halfway point too. It was always like, yeah, this is the end of summer for me.
What, going to Warped Tour?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, yeah. It was such a perfect point in the year to go to it too. And then by the time it was over, you felt completed. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm good.
Yep.
Is there anything that, and this could be stream wise, music wise, anything, like, is there anything that you're putting off that you would like to get back into or like to do as like a goal?
That is a very, very good and very loaded question.
I know that you've wanted to do music recording for quite a while.
Yeah, and I'm getting bits and pieces of that together. And, you know, obviously life stuff. Yeah. Not commenting on life stuff, but with life stuff happening, I have a little more time to be able to go to Alex's house.
Right.
Coming up soon and actually work on music with him.
Yeah, because I think it was Alex you've always mentioned is who you've made music with, right?
Yeah, we have several, like, works in progress kind of thing going on. And I'd like to have those works in progress become completed works. And like, even aside from that, I've been, not necessarily musically, but I've been writing down a lot of stuff and putting out thoughts and having things recorded either audibly or, you know, digitally. And that has been slightly therapeutic in getting that out. Because regardless of where it goes, at least I have started writing stuff down again.
Okay, good.
Because I think I may have gone over it with you previously, but I had for a long time a lot of stuff written and a lot of stuff physically written.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point in my life that I was in not the best mental health space, and I ended up getting rid of a lot of stuff.
Yep, because I feel that, the impulse.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where I really have had problems since then trying to even write, because I'll trash it.
Yeah, it's just immediate, like, writer's block.
Yeah. And I had something that I did last year, throwing it back to my shout out earlier to Alana Maddie. She does this thing every year in the fall called Songtober.
Oh, yeah.
Where she comes up with prompts for the entire month. And basically, whether you write a poem or a song or create some kind of art that's relative to that prompt.
Yeah.
I wrote one thing and then I tapped out because I was just very, very hypersensitive of it.
Oh, same here. You had actually sent me the challenge, and I tried it myself, and same thing. Like, I had title songs. I had written out title songs, you know, just to kind of give me a basic idea of just to write a song that day. And still, I just had so much trouble trying to even come up with anything.
Right. And I think I sent you the one thing that I had completed.
Yeah, I remember.
And I still have that note in my phone, and I'd still like to maybe do something with that sometime.
Yeah.
But I've found that I've been writing, but I haven't been doing anything musically. And I've been struggling to pick up my instruments recently.
Yeah, that's totally understandable.
Again, going back to, you know, like the fact that I've got some real life shit going on. Like, I don't know if I mentioned this to you. I've mentioned it to a couple people, but I've been feeling like I've been losing my passions with everything that I'm going through.
I know exactly what you mean. And
it's not by choice, but it's...
No, not at all.
It's difficult because I'm going through a lot of life changes, and I'm at a point in my life where I'm not entirely sure I know who I am anymore. And it's like, did I really love doing this? Or was I just using this as a coping mechanism or something that I thought I enjoyed, but maybe I don't anymore? And that's been a big struggle with streaming, is like trying to find that passion for that, because I love it. I genuinely do. And I've talked about this a couple times recently to people, that I want to keep doing it. I love the community that I've created. I love the people that I have in my life because of it. And I feel like abandoning it entirely would be an absolute foolish mistake. But some days it's just so hard to click that start streaming button.
Yeah, I think this is something I've struggled with too recently. Like, and we talked about this in the beginning, but as we're talking about it now, it makes me think. There are several times where I'm like, could I be doing something more important right now? You know what I mean? Like, it's like I know I'm going to be up all night anyway. There's a lot of stuff I would like to get done. There's a lot of things I would like to get out, a lot of ideas. But instead, I'm going to click the start button and just sit here and play games all night. And I'm getting to the point too where it's like that with video games. It's kind of like, do I even really like doing this anymore?
Right. It's hard. It's truly hard. And that I think that small spark that happened the other day with the amnesia speedrunning thing. I feel like that may have been a spark that I needed to return to passion, in a sense of speaking. Not to quote the Knock Loose song, but literally it's what it is. I'm feeling like there's a return to passion happening.
Yeah.
And it might not be full on, it might be gradual, it might completely slip beneath the cracks and disappear on me. Who fucking knows?
Right. Well, I recently got back into playing like fighting games, and that sparked something for me. It was like, oh, this is what I've been missing.
I was looking at you the other day when you were ripping some Tekken 8, and I was like, the smile on your face, dude, I ain't seen a smile like that for a good minute.
Yeah, it was like genuine happiness from playing a video game.
And
don't get me wrong, that's why I play Final Fantasy 14 every day. It's because it's a game I genuinely just enjoy playing.
It's a comfort game.
Yeah.
It's not even necessarily that you like or dislike playing the game, but it's comfortable for you. It gives you the means to interact with people a little more than playing something that's a little more focused.
Right.
But at the same time, you're able to dial up and focus for X amount of time, get done what needs to be done, and then you're back to, shooting the shit with chat.
Right, exactly. It's got a really nice balance of like, hey, I can go in here and get in some really intense fighting if I want to, and then after it's done, I can sit and chill for a minute.
And that's the thing is, like, I know I've said this to you before, but like, I'm an antisocial social. Like, I hate people, but I do people really well.
Yeah.
And I do people really well when they're also my people. And like, that's a thing that's come up in conversations a lot recently too, is you have people and then you have your people.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, you have like acquaintances, and then you have your community, your people, your friends.
It's just one of those things where I am so gung-ho about having my community. I love my community. I love my people. I love the communities that I'm a part of as well. But God, some days I'm just like, I'm so terrified to actually go live right now.
Yeah.
And I just want to chat and chat and chat and chat and chat, and I don't want to sit and trauma dump on people and woe is me. Like, it's...
And do you ever this is something I've dealt with over the years of streaming, is that I go to streaming not to just sit there and play video games, but I mostly would rather have a good conversation with somebody in chat.
Oh, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, like, having the Discord calls and all that with friends while you're playing games is great. But I'm a big fan of just vegging out to something and having a great conversation. If I'm just cruising through speed runs and keeping up with chat while I'm relearning amnesia, fuck, I'm living. I'm absolutely living.
Yeah. And there's some nights where I'm sitting there, and everybody's going to have these nights where the night's completely dead in chat. It happens. But it's nights like that it's really hard to fight against that. What am I doing this for?
Exactly. It's so hard. It's you want to be able to be entertaining, but if there's people that are watching but not talking,
yes,
it's hard to know if it's you or if it's them doing something else, or maybe they're just not in the talkative mood. whatever the case may be, it's a skewed system in a sense of speaking, because you could have one person and that one person is the only person watching and chatting.
Yeah.
You could have one person that's chatting but 15 viewers, and you could have 30 viewers and no one's chatting at all. And it's like, you begin to question if you're doing something wrong.
Right. It's like, do I suck this bad? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I think about.
It's the streamer conundrum through and through. And then you get done and you look back and you're like, well, did I have a good time tonight? Yeah, I did. Do I want to do it again tomorrow? Yeah, kind of. Like, even if you didn't have a whole lot of social interaction in your chat, whether you were playing and having people in Discord, or you were playing solo and queuing and having chats with the people that you were playing with in the game, or, you know, post-game chatter in games like Dead by Daylight and Final Fantasy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, you're still getting some sort of social charge out of that. But it's hard to feel like you're being enough.
Yeah.
When there's no one there to necessarily validate it. And it's dangerous to say that, because it's like, you don't want people who are lurking your stream to feel like they're not appreciated, because they are.
Right.
Like, they're there for a reason, obviously. I have notoriously lurked your stream a lot recently.
Yeah.
And like, I've self-admitted that, like, hey, I'm either doing this, that, or the other, or I'm just not talkative, but I'm here. And especially as a moderator, like, I want to have the stream open in the event that I see shit going down and I need to take care of shit. Like, I can swoop in, pop a ban in, put someone in their place, whatever the case may be, and then swoop back out and watch from the shadows like Batman.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. Watch from the shadows.
It's hard. Justice. But it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't question it when I'm live, of like, you know, I've seen some streamers who've got like, you know, X amount of viewers and say shit like, oh, well, nobody's here to fucking clip or say do this and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, dude, you're genuinely just butthurt at that point. You need to understand that not everybody's going to talk in every single stream. And then there's these massive streamers who have tens of thousands of viewers, or, you know, hundreds of thousands of viewers, or hundreds of viewers even. And they're not even interacting with chat. They're doing their own fucking thing. And everybody else is chatting amongst each other. Like, it's such a touchy subject. And, like, I have notoriously, like, thanked people that I know are lurking, like, separately off stream days later. Like, hey, thank you. I don't want them to feel like I'm trying to call them out. Exactly.
That's why I always give love, like, at the end to the lurkers too. It's like, hey, if you're lurking, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Like, again, like, my whole premise of what I do in my community and all that kind of thing is, again, providing people a place to come and kick their feet up. If they want to talk after their day, great. I love that. Please tell me about your day. Tell me what's new with you.
Yeah.
If you just want to come and kick your feet off and conk out on the sofa and watch some fucking bozo play some games, come watch some fucking bozo play some games. Like, that's fine by me.
Yeah. I've literally had people be like, hey, I just come to your stream just to listen to your voice and pass out. And that's cool.
Like, again, it's like, you want that validation that you're doing the right thing, but in the process of asking for that validation, it comes off as like,
right.
I don't know what the word would be for it.
You feel like almost entitled or needy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I don't stream for the attention. I don't stream for the ego. I don't stream for any of that. For what it's worth, I could stop streaming, delete my fucking channel in Discord tomorrow.
Right.
And would I necessarily be fine with that? No. Would I be fine down the line? Right, yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm going to move on and, go on with my life. But I've come to the understanding that I've created a place that people want to be, whether they want to be there socially or just to be there. Mm-hmm. They're here for their reasons, and I'm just glad that they can find some kind of solace there, because Lord knows 10 years ago I didn't have that in my life, and sometimes that's just enough for people, is to just have something like that.
I know it may seem sad, but I think a lot of people also could get along with this too, is that at the point that I started streaming was when I was like, I've realized I don't really have friends to hang out with anymore personally. So I saw that people could create these communities through Twitch, and I was that really caught my attention. And I was like, I would like to do that. That sounds nice. I would love a community of people. And building on that community is hard. It's hard to get people involved, because you have to think they're probably already involved in so many other communities. So
right.
to have people that are dedicated to you as a person or a brand or whatever is it's hard.
It really is. And that's another thing for me, is like, there are some people that are out here doing Twitch for a paycheck, mm-hmm. and trying to, build this brand and clout and make this something big for themselves, and like, power to those people. But that's not my prerogative. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I can delete this shit tomorrow and
I'll be fine.
That's the end of it. Like, I have warred with myself on like making TikToks and posting that kind of shit, mm-hmm. because I've had some funny, silly, sometimes heartfelt moments that happen on my stream that people have clipped, that have been, the kind of shit that grabs those kind of views and all that. And I've warred with myself, because it's like, do I want that? Do I want that kind of attention? Do I want droves of people coming over from TikTok or Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts and blah, 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 blah?
Right.
I post on Twitter, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't have like a Facebook fan group. I don't have Threads and Blue Sky and this and that and the other. I'm doing this. I don't want to say I'm doing this for me, because it's not necessarily for me. Part of it is for me, yes. But I do this because I know that there are people out there that need something, some form of sense of community, something to hold on to, something that they look forward to, something that is a rock in their life. Because for the better part of, like I said, the last 10 or so years, I haven't had that. I used to have a community that I was a part of, that was a faith-based community, and I've told you this whole story before.
Yeah.
And it was something that, happened twice a year, 4 times if you count the planning meetings.
Right.
That I looked forward to. It was great. I had friends. I had a community. I had something that was formative and stable.
Yeah, you had your support system.
Exactly. And that was swept out from under my feet after I got married.
Yeah.
And I lost that. And I found a new community. I found a new group of people. And then from there, I started finding more groups that I fit into, and more and more and more. And then the friend groups started blending. And then I was like, you know what? Why don't I create kind of a hub for that? And that's when I started the Discord server and started streaming and having that place for people, because sometimes people don't have that, and sometimes it's really all they need is just somewhere they can feel
I absolutely love
and accepted and appreciated.
I absolutely love the comments that people make towards you because it's always nothing but positive things.
I mean, I don't try to be negative. I don't try to be toxic. I don't try to do all that shit. Like, I'll playfully say shit
Of
as
course.
a joke.
Yeah.
Like, I'll make, like some backhanded comments sometimes, and I'll realize, like, oh, that was not exactly the best thing to say. I'm sorry. Like, I wasn't trying to hurt your feelings or something like that.
Yeah.
But, like, like you, me, and Kevin have a playful relationship where we say and do stupid shit to each other, both in chat, in a public eye, and out of that public eye, we sit and say dumb shit to each other.
Oh, of course.
And, like, I'm like that with a lot of my friends. Like, we'll sit and, a lot of us, like, Kevin and I too have that, like, joking homosexual attitude towards each other where we'll say flirtatious shit to each other and it doesn't mean anything more than, just friends being friends and saying stupid shit to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we all say just outrageous, funny, comical shit. And we're all just trying to get a rise out of each other. We're all just trying to get, some smiles. And
I think it's because we have a friendship that's so genuine that it feels like someone that you could go up to in person and say the shit and just know that it's a friendship thing.
Oh, exactly. Like, Kevin and I joke about, like walking up to each other and kissing each other in the mouth. So one of these days, I'm gonna fucking do it, and I don't give a fuck. Walk right up to him, just plant one right on his mouth, and just be like, you know what, Kevin? You've been saying it for years. I did it, bitch.
Yeah.
Shout out KB Falcon. That's my fucking boy.
That's our boy right there.
It's one of those things where I don't want to try to sit on this high horse of it. Like, I know that I'm just a guy who's just going about his life, and I just happen to be someone who streams on Twitch. Like, I don't classify as a content creator. I don't create content that goes beyond the limits of my Twitch stream and the Discord and the rest of the community. I don't say and do controversial shit that's going to get,
yeah, I'm not looking
clipped and
for
put
attention
on YouTube and clip shows and all that kind of shit. I'm just here to have a good time and make it a place for people to feel safe and appreciated and welcomed. And
yeah,
granted, there's been a couple of things that have happened that, have changed, the dynamic for a couple people that are no longer a part of that.
Oh yeah, same here.
I don't wish any ill on them. Like,
no.
I'm not someone who wants to sit and trash talk, and I'm, again, when those events happened, yeah, sure, I may have said some things, but I'm 33 years old. I don't have time for quote-unquote child's play. I'm not a teenager that's trying to have all this drama and shit.
I've already been through that
I'm just trying to have a fun time. I'm trying to give people a space to have fun and enjoy themselves and escape their real life bullshit for a little bit of time.
Exactly.
And if I'm not doing that, then I'm clearly failing.
Yeah, like if you feel unsafe in my streams or whatever, then that's something I'm failing to look at and take care of. And that's something I need people to say. I don't need you to just bow out. If there's a problem, speak up.
Right.
That's the only way that it gets
something
solved.
We're saying. We're not trying to make you uncomfortable. We just say stupid, provocative shit.
Yeah. There's no reins on it.
That's just us.
There's no reins on it. It's, every now and then like we say, we'll say some dumb shit, and it's all love, but I don't want to make anyone like uncomfortable or,
Exactly. And if it makes someone uncomfortable, like, even if they approach us in private and say something about it, like, hey, could you cut that off if I'm around? Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we're not saying, morbidly offensive shit. Like, we're making haphazard, like, jokes towards each other and, like, kind of like slap ass comedy in the locker room kind of thing. Like, we're not trying to be like frat housey. Like, it's just us being friends and saying silly, stupid, dumb shit. Like, if we make you uncomfortable, say something. Like, we're not trying to make you uncomfortable. And if we are, we'll correct it. Like, we're not going to be, just disgustingly obscene, terrible people to anybody who comes up and says, hey, I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we want our places to be a place where you feel appreciated and respected. And if you're not feeling that, tell us.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And that's why I'm so thankful, and I'm sure you are too, for like good moderators, like if somebody sees that, that's why you have that team for them to help you moderate that,
and that's
because as a streamer you're supposed to be like the entertainer,
right?
And it sucks whenever you have to pull away from that to like maybe deal with like some drama going on in the chat.
Well, and that's a big thing too, is like I'm not 100% sure for your side of things, because most of the time it's me and Kevin that are there consistently.
Yeah.
Like, I have, like, and this is no flack on any of my mods. If any of you are listening to this, you know that I fucking love you guys. Like, you have a sword for a reason. You know that I love and appreciate you. I sometimes don't have mods hanging out because of this, that, or the other reason.
Yeah.
But my space doesn't usually dictate the need for that. Rarely do I get the bot shit.
Yeah, there's only ever actually been
coming in
rare times that I actually need a mod, but
right, rarely do I have anybody coming in being a fucking hateful piece of shit that I don't deal with myself more times than not. And most of the time, my mods that are around are either lurking in the shadows, doing their own thing. Shout out Woody and Z. Love that guy. He's like the super mod for too many fucking streamers. And he's literally like, he's like, I hate to call him this, but he's like the Twitch grandpa. Like, he's literally everywhere. You cannot go somewhere and either see Woody's name in the chatters list or in the viewer list.
Yeah.
Like, Woody is literally everywhere, and he's a super mod.
That's
like,
so cool.
He knows so much. When he's around, he can pretty much help you fix anything in minutes. And he's taught me so much. He teaches a lot of people a lot of shit.
Oh yeah.
And it's one of those things where he doesn't have to be omnipresent to be omnipresent. Like, it's almost as if you speak his name and he just appears.
He's one of those people, yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder what he's doing, and then he's like, oh, hey.
Exactly. And it's one of those things where, like, I don't necessarily need my mods to be mods, but they have a sword for a reason. I trust them to do what needs to be done if there's something that needs to be done. And I have, a mod channel on my Discord, and I let them know if there's something coming up that needs to be, made aware of, or if we have someone new joining the team, or if someone's exiting the team, or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm very lax with it. Like, there are some people that I know who have separate Discords for their mods. I get it. I understand that's how you run things. There's no flack or shade from me about that. But that's not how I run shit, because I'm doing a completely different thing on my side of things. Most of those people that have a separate mod channel or a mod Discord are, aiming for higher goals and doing more, of the content creation side of things. And power to them. I support the shit out of people, especially if they're friends of mine that I mod for, especially.
Oh, yeah.
But anybody that's reaching for those dreams, and if there's people out there who are listening to this and thinking about, like, streaming and doing that kind of thing, just fucking go live, dude. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
I know I have room to talk, having, being someone who's struggling to hit that start streaming button recently. but just fucking do it.
Yeah, if you got
create your community,
if you really even got the spark to be like, maybe I want to do it, that's when you do it.
Yep, just do it. Insert Shia LaBeouf meme here. Just do it.
Do you think that you would ever bring your music to the streams?
It's a thought.
Yeah.
I know that I've played some music on stream before.
Mm-hmm.
I've covered a song by Sadie Price on stream before.
You've definitely serenaded us in Discord too many times.
Again, a lot of that is just self-consciousness that I have about a lot of stuff. My voice, personally, my writing abilities or lack thereof, depending on what day you ask me.
You know, something I will say is some of the confidence from some of the musicians on Twitch, I love.
Oh, God, yes.
Being able to put yourself out there like that. And it's basically putting yourself on a stage. Like, really, if you think about it. Pretty much. It just might be a little bit more comfortable being from home. But, yeah, having that confidence to go live and perform like that, hats off to you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I know I shouted out a couple of streamers earlier that are music streamer friends of mine, but I have so much respect for them and so much love and appreciation for them, because that's a facet of Twitch that I started in. Was initially it was speedrunning because of my friend Sean, who has been a friend of mine for 2008. So
okay, yeah, good chunk.
Something like 16 years now I've known the guy. Yeah. And he's one of my mods on Twitch, pops in when he can occasionally. He just recently started streaming again too.
Nice.
And he kind of brought me into the fold. That's what the year that I attended SGDQ here in Minnesota for the first time. Made a bunch of friends. Met a guy who plays piano now, strictly just mostly piano and some guitar stuff on stream. But he was doing some speedrunning and song request kind of stuff and all that, and that kind of brought me into the music side of Twitch. And I started hopping into these streams and having conversations with these music streamers, and then it just took off from there. Like, I have swords in several music streamers channels. I am friends with a lot of people who are connected to the music community, and it's one of my favorite things.
You actually helped me get into the music scene of Twitch by introducing me to it's the two girls. What are their names? Shit, I feel so.
Courtney and Ashley.
Yes.
Yeah. I just, I had met them. I had met Cam. I had met Bryant. I started following that group from Texas called ACS, which is a couple streams. I started following Claire, Kira. God, the list goes on and on and on. And Vari, which is a brother-sister duo, and occasionally their dad jumps in and plays bass. Like, they have a very cool family dynamic. There's the handful of more heavier folks. There's Sunfire TV, who is this silly ass Latina girl who just does some fucking wacky shit on her stream, and I fucking love it.
I love it.
There's Seth Drums. There's Closure, obviously Heath, and then Julian Bellhumor, and who else did I have in mind? Shit, it's escaping me now. But they're like the music on Twitch, like, you can go into the categories, and looking at it right now, let me see where it is here. Browse music. Right now, there's they have like subgenres broken up for music now. So you can find live events going on. You can find people playing Rocksmith. You can find people who are doing mixing, who are doing like all sorts of live stuff. The music culture on Twitch is so vibrant. It's
huge.
Incredible. And it's one of the coolest things is that it's so easy to just click open a stream, start listening, get just completely enthralled, and then start chatting. And then next thing you know,
you're a part of that community.
Exactly. Yeah. It's that easy.
Yeah, getting connected on Twitch is super easy, and that's one of the great things about it. Is how easy you can make a connection with somebody.
It's absolutely one of my favorite things, and I will continuously like not go to music streams for a while, and then I'll go back and my name will pop up and people will recognize my name and be like, oh my god, it's so good to see you. Like, it's one of those things where you start to make connections to people and they're just so stoked that you're there. Like, people with as few as 0 viewers will be so excited to have you there. It's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
I love the feeling of like going into a stream where you are so welcomed by the rest of the community. That's such a great feeling. It's like walking into like a room just full of your friends, and everybody's like, "Oh, hey, so and so's here," you know.
Absolutely, and that's kind of how I'm feeling with this community with Closure. Like, Heath he's really cultivated a really beautiful group of people, and like I've already been making friends and then in that community outside of the stream, and it's that kind of thing where it really creates connections with people that you would otherwise probably never meet.
So what do you think about Twitch upping the dollar on subscriptions?
That they should be paying us more if they're going to be charging our people more.
I said the same thing. Said if you're going to charge more, then we should get more of it, because that's kind of the whole point of people giving subs.
It sucks that it has to go up. Is it going to stop me from gifting subs to people as often? Maybe. Is it going to stop me from wanting to gift subs to people? No, I'm still going to want to.
Well, that's why I created the Patreon and made that, you know, I think the cheapest subscription they have on there is like, you can set it for like $3. So I try to give people that option. It's like, hey, I know you're not really getting much out of it by subbing on Patreon right now because I'm still working on it, but it is an option if you're not wanting to pay almost $7 now, $6-7 for a sub.
Yeah, it's $6.50 now, I think. So I know that I might unfortunately have to be canceling a couple of subscriptions.
Right.
I have a few recurring that I've had recurring for a while, but it's unfortunate that it has to be that way. But
I've had people do that to me before. I've had people literally have to come in and revoke a sub, and man, they come in and are so apologetic. I'm like, look, I get it. Like, if you need your money, you need your money. I'm the same way.
100%. And that's one of my biggest things is I don't do this for money. If people want to subscribe to me because I have, you know, some silly, cute emotes that you enjoy, fuck yeah, dude. By all means, please.
You can tell how you feel about it when people sub to you or give you money. You can tell how you feel about it. It's like, hey, I appreciate that, but
you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely appreciate when people do that. It's never been a thing where they have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I've had a couple of times where I've needed money and I've had, like, you know, a don't goal up for that kind of a thing. But I don't expect it. I don't go into it saying, hey, give me money. Like, if it were up to me, like, looking at it now in 2024, if I could just cancel my affiliation altogether, I would. However, I know that there's going to be at least a dozen angry people who subscribe to me, specifically because they love my emotes.
Yeah.
And last thing I need is an angry mob.
Where's my emotes?
But that's a big thing too. Is like a lot of the times I will reinvest my Twitch earnings into gifting subs to people in other streams. Like putting that back into the ecosystem in a sense of speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you know, it's definitely one of those things where I absolutely want to support other streamers as best as I can, even though I don't expect people to go out of their way to support me in that same way.
Mm-hmm. Well, dude, it's been so good having you on here. Thank you so much for coming through and chatting it up with me tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
I wasn't expecting it to go this long, but it was a damn good conversation.
Yeah, I loved it. I saw the hour mark coming up and I was like, no, this is too good. Like, we have to keep going.
You're right. I get the extra special long bonus episode,
dude,
folks.
honestly,
you know, I just get the special treatment. I'm sorry. Nobody else does. You're all relegated to an hour only. Sorry.
But I just want to say that I appreciate your friendship so much and appreciate the type of person that you are, because you're just so genuine and you care. And it's really hard to get that out of people, especially with internet friendships. You know what I mean? When you're not there personal, because that makes it a whole different thing as well. So
100%.
I just want to say that I really appreciate you and people that even from your community. I appreciate your community.
Well, the feeling is absolutely mutual, my friend. I try to pride myself on being as authentic as I can. I'm, as I say, unapologetically myself. You get what you see.
Yeah.
You get a jolly, chunky, silly, laughable, sassy fat boy who's just trying to make people's lives better.
He's got a massive hog.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God, Joey. You're wildin'. You are wildin'.
All right, so where can
did you say heart? I swore I heard heart.
No, I said hog.
Oh my God, I love you, bro.
I love you too. Where can people find you at?
I am on Twitch, twitch.tv/YonduPoppinsYall. You can find me on Twitter, because the fuck is X? It's Twitter.
Yeah, it's Twitter. I don't care what they say.
You can find me at YonduPoppins there. Those are really the only two socials that I use. I have a Discord server if you want to come join that. If you see me in chat, enjoy your stream, ask me about it. Otherwise, if you decide you want to come follow me on Twitch and come over there, you can find that there.
Dude, I would highly recommend.
Those are really my only social handles. So,
well, I would highly recommend that everybody definitely go check Olin out. He's just super fun to hang out with, super easy to be around, and he's very welcoming. And if you like, if you have a little bit of degenerate humor, he's right there with you, so he'll be able to hang. And if you need someone, to hold your hand and put your head in their lap, Olin is also that guy. So,
absolutely,
any which way you need the comfort or whatever you need, he's pretty much got you covered.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, dude. I love you. Thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for having me, man.
Of course. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Be sure to go check out Olin. All the links will be down below in YouTube and on Spotify. So, yeah, take it easy.